We assume winners are loud. We imagine rapid-fire trades, dramatic screens, confident declarations. That imagined energy feels like control. Keep moving, keep reacting, keep proving you belong in the market. That image misleads. The traders who compound returns for years are mostly invisible during the noise. They move with a slow economy of effort. Their attention is not frantic, it is choosy. They conserve mental bandwidth for the moments that actually matter. This conservation looks like calm because it is calm, but it is a calm earned by discipline and focus, not by absence of feeling. Winning traders cultivate measured attention. They design their days so that attention is both scarce and sacred. They understand that mental sharpness is a resource that drains with use. Rather than squeeze every minute for action, they allocate attention to decision windows where their probability edge is strongest. Outside those windows, they protect their clarity. This is not laziness. It is deliberate economy, precision where precision counts. They also practice mental translation. Market events do not arrive as clear lessons, they are ambiguous signals. Winners translate ambiguity into the language of process. How will this change what I do tomorrow? Not how good I am today. That translation keeps self-worth off the table and behavior on it. It is a simple reframing with big consequences. Finally, they manage energy as much as they manage information. Attention without energy is a hollow resource. Winners schedule breaks, sleep priorities, and physical movement into their trading routines. They understand that a clear mind comes from a well-maintained body. That basic respect for physiology is an understated but powerful psychological edge. The most common failure mode in trading is treating each moment as uniquely decisive. A single bar, a single candle, a single headline, all treated as proof. Winning traders refuse this frame. They think in sequences. They evaluate a trade as one instrument in an ongoing string of samples. That perspective dilutes the emotional gravity of individual outcomes. Sequence thinking requires thresholds. Winners set clear entry and exit thresholds that are process-oriented, not emotion-driven. Those thresholds are not guidelines to debate. They are the terms of engagement. When a threshold is met, the action is mechanical. When it isn't, the impulse to act must be resisted. That mechanical discipline reduces noise-driven decisions drastically. Another capability winners cultivate is zoning, the ability to create a clean cognitive space for decision-making. Zoning is an internal filter that blocks unrelated anxieties, an effective temporary exclusion zone where only relevant information is allowed. It is how a trader prevents yesterday's tension, personal stress, or a headline from contaminating a rational choice. Zoning is trained with short, repeated exercises, short breath resets, a focused checklist, a 2-minute visualization of the exact posture you want to hold at entry, and a one-line verbal cue that signals readiness. Consider a micro-vignette. A trader takes a small loss in the morning, then receives an impulsive signal midday. The reflex is to chase, to redress the discomfort. A winner notices the impulse, scans the thresholds, and either acts because the signal meets the criteria or does nothing. No story, no justification, just the criteria. In practice, this looks boring. In practice, it saves accounts. Winners also use pattern-neutral language internally. Instead of saying, "I must be right," they say, "I am testing one hypothesis among many." This subtle linguistic shift reduces identification with outcomes and turns trades into experiments rather than verdicts. Language shapes perception. By changing the internal script, winners keep emotion peripheral. They practice mini-experiments to calibrate confidence. Before risking size, they test a small sample across different market regimes. That testing provides grounded evidence for scaling, preventing scale-ups driven by ego rather than by data. The combination of sequencing, threshold clarity, Zoning and small experiments forms a robust architecture for steady execution. We usually talk about surviving losses, but surviving success is equally complicated. A win changes the internal economy of confidence. Confidence buys permission. Permission to loosen size, permission to relax selection, permission to audition new tactics. That permission, if unregulated, compounds into risk. Winning traders build defense against success. They institute rules that activate after a period of gains, reduce exposure by a fixed percentage, narrow the universe of allowed instruments, or take a deliberate cool-down period. These are anti-euphoria protocols. They are structured not as punishment, but as maintenance of clarity. Emotional bandwidth is a concept winners use implicitly. There is an upper limit to how much emotional variance a trader's mind can hold on any given day. High-strain decisions deplete this bandwidth quickly. Wins consume bandwidth as surely as losses do, but they do so in sneaky ways. A victory may temporarily expand risk tolerance, which increases the cognitive load of future choices. Winners monitor bandwidth. They end sessions early, delegate discretionary choices to rules, and limit the number of discretionary trades per block to preserve clarity. They also practice delayed meta-evaluation. Instead of changing the system in reaction to a run of results, good or bad, they document what happened and wait for a calm review period. This is different from journaling as therapy. This is deliberate postponement of judgment until the mind is not under the influence of immediate reward or disappointment. That delay prevents the run of the day from dictating the run of the month. Another practical distinction is the use of scaled-down triggers. When multiple wins accumulate, winners tighten filters. They reduce position size by a pre-declared percentage and increase verification criteria. This mechanical contrarian action to success is a humility protocol. It prevents the subtle drift into overconfidence that kills many promising runs. A vignette helps. Imagine a trader who has had a strong week. The market seems generous. Under excitement, they expand risk. A winning trader installs a protocol. After 3 consecutive positive sessions, cut position size by 20% and require an extra confirmation for entries. This simple countermeasure preserves longevity. Simplicity heals pressure. Each additional indicator, each extra conditional rule expands the theater of negotiation within the mind. Under stress, negotiation becomes distortion. Winning traders design minimal frameworks. Their rules are few, precise, and protectable. They rely on micro-rituals to punctuate process. A micro-ritual is any small, repeatable action that signals a change in state. Closing a tab, a 3-breath reset, a verbal confirmation of the entry reason. Micro-rituals limit the mind's tendency to escalate narratives. They serve as brief anchors back to process. Choice architecture matters. Winners limit options to reduce second-guessing. Less choice means fewer opportunities for the mind to invent justifications. Each eliminated option sharpens execution. They practice scheduled exposure, trading only within blocks where market structure typically fits their edge. That scheduling turns restraint from a test of will into a structural rule. Posture is subtle but powerful. Winners carry a stance of receptivity rather than conquest. They seek opportunities that fit their method. They do not try to force the market to fit their desires. This posture reduces cognitive friction and improves the odds that when an edge appears, it is recognized and executed cleanly. They also cultivate community calibration. Accountability partners, small peer groups, or a trusted mentor provide perspective when enthusiasm rises or doubt deepens. Community is not about cheering, it is about honest feedback and external calibration. When the mind rationalizes, a peer's question can often reveal the unseen slit in a decision. A few more concrete practices distinguish winners from pretenders. They keep a simple, objective dashboard: trade count, win rate at predefined setups, average risk per trade, and adherence percentage to pre-declared rules. This dashboard is not about ego, it is about measurement. When the adherence rate falls, behavior, not markets, is the target for correction. When the win rate at a valid setup drifts, they analyze the setup's parameters, not their identity. Automation is another tool. When practical, winners automate routine checks or alerts to reduce cognitive load. Automation does not replace judgment, it preserves it by taking repetitive chores off the table. Alerts are narrowly designed so that when human attention is required, the signal is clean and meaningful. They also cultivate circadian alignment. Trading when alert is an advantage few exploit. Winners schedule their most discretionary decisions during times of day when they are typically sharp. They keep simpler, rule-based trades for less alert hours. This alignment of biology and behavior reduces costly errors. Finally, winners practice humility rituals. These are small, symbolic actions that remind them of limits. A post-session note acknowledging luck elements, a compact record of how decisions matched rules, or a brief conversation with a peer after volatile days. These rituals are brief but powerful because they keep the ego in check. A closing vignette. Imagine a trader who treats trading like caretaking rather than hunting. They monitor a small plot of land with consistent attention, add fertilizer when necessary, and leave the larger seasons to time. The garden does not produce fruit on demand, but in steady seasons it yields reliably. That is the orientation of the winning trader: patient, attentive, and methodical. The behaviors of winning traders are often invisible because they are deliberately unremarkable. They read like stewardship. Winning is an act of consistent stewardship over attention, emotion, and choice. Begin small. Carve decision windows, define non-negotiable thresholds, and build micro-rituals that reset your state. Respect the bandwidth of your attention. Treat success as fragile and install rules to keep it honest. Observe the market without the need to be seen in it. Let results accumulate quietly. Over months and years, this accumulation compounds into outcomes that are obvious only in hindsight. That is the nature of durable edge: simple, repeatable, and boring in the right way. Remember that the market is an ecology, not a tournament. You are building a durable presence within that ecology. Success is less about winning a single conflict and more about staying viable long enough for favorable odds to reveal themselves. Quiet edges endure because they are not dependent on mood, luck, or spectacle. They are the product of intentional practice, careful limits, and the humility to let time do its work. If you want to start, pick one practice and practice it relentlessly for 30 days. Maybe it is a threshold you'll never negotiate below. Maybe it is a 5-minute pre-session ritual that clears your mind. Maybe it is a rule that automatically reduces size after a run of wins. Measure the outcome. Adjust only after a calm review. These small, disciplined steps build durable habits. Over time, those habits turn into a temperament, the mental atmosphere you bring to the market each day. Change that atmosphere, and the market's reaction changes with it.